Hi there, hope you are doing alright. If you're new to this channel, this is a channel where I talk about music production. I talk about the gear like this I use to create my tracks around here. And I try to combine gear reviews with actual music production and actual trying to make something out of the stuff I feature on this channel. For example, this synthesizer, I have used this in a lot of my productions, and also in this production I'm going to go through today. This track has not got a name yet, and I don't know why, but that's just the way it is. I'm going to try to go through each and every track, talk a little bit about why I have done what I have done with the track in regards of mixing, instruments and things like that, and hopefully someone, or hopefully maybe you, can learn something from this. Throw a little disclaimer out there: I don't consider myself an out expert on music production and mixing or anything. I am just like all other people out there. I'm still learning, trying new techniques, having fun and seeing what works. I also follow other YouTubers such as Recording Revolution, and I get a lot of tips and tricks from this guy, so highly recommended if you are into music production and mixing, especially, to follow this YouTuber. But let's go to my screen casting here and take a look at this project. It's in Ableton Live as always, or almost always at least. If you know me from before, it's a trance type of track, and we can just, or a little preview in some parts here. Yeah, I guess that's enough. And yeah, it's kind of a trance melody. I am planning to maybe release this as a stock music track, and that's why the intro is really fast, like this. So we'll see what I do with this. So on the top here we have a kick. It's just a loop playing. Nothing special about that. I have an EQ here where I have reduced some of the frequencies around 130 Hz because I obviously thought they was annoying in some way. I don't remember why. I just did that. And then some other loops like hats and yeah, crashes, things like that. Really basic drum beat. I haven't really done that much here. Then we have something called Moog Layer 1. So this is a recording from synthesizer I have behind me here, the Moog Subsequent 37. It sounds like this in the track. And here it sounds like this. So you have this plucked type of feel. So obviously you hear a lot of effects here, so I have a few effects on this synthesizer. First of all, I use Saturn just to give it some, I don't know, some edge, some otherness, trying to change the sound a little bit. And I think Saturn is really great to add some saturation, of course, to the sound. And when we come to the bass, I will show you something that's really cool actually, so stick around to that. But if then after Saturn we have a delay Then I had a Valhalla shimmer here, but I have disabled it, it looks like. Maybe I will activate it again. But I disabled it for a reason, obviously. Maybe it just overwhelmed the mix. Then I have a glue compressor, not anything heavy here, just taking the peaks off, a EQ here, some high passing, take off some of the low end, and yeah, LFO tool to duck it with the kick here. But again, it's not that much, so just a little bit. So that's the Moog layer. It's recorded. When I produced the track, I used the external instrument, so I've been playing around with it in real time. This track is actually this number 9 MIDI track. This is the Moog track I've been using. So there's that. Then we have something called the lead group. This is a selection of different synthesizers playing the same melody. It's Diva, it's Spire, and Silence, and it's this arpeggiated melody. So this is one of the tracks. And then I can add the following tracks, and you can listen and see how kind of the sound gets fuller. And we will add the Moog as well, of course. So when you add everything together, you get this kind of full sound, and of course you need some automation to this as well. For example, on Silent here, we have automated the filter cutoff, of course, a little bit, so you get a little more movement in the sound, for example, to the end here. Like so. So if you press A, you get the automation lanes up. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 synthesizers, and they go into one lead group. And you can also see that on each track here I have some effects on each lead track. So for the first one here we have delay, a compressor, and EQing here, removing some unwanted frequencies. Here we have Spire, and we have the Multiband compressor OT. Here's the difference. Some EQ here, some compressors here, and you may notice that I use a differ between the Ableton EQ and Fabfilter EQ. So what's the reason for that, you may wonder? There's no reason at all. Maybe I have copied one of these tracks from one of my other tracks when I produced this song. It could be that, and when I copied the track over, it already had the EQ there, and it's doing its job, so whatever. So that's probably why, or I just didn't find it. I just, let's just take EQ8, it works. So that's why. There's nothing really interesting with that. So where was I? Well, same here, EQ, compressor, and here we have some delay, and here I actually use Fabfilter Q3. Some low end removal. Oops, we didn't see that little clip there. Everything here then goes into a group called the lead group, where we have Saturn to give it some saturation. Let's turn it off. As you can see, we have some increasement in treble here and presence, so you will get some more low end no you will get some more high end presence here. Then we have LFO tool just a little bit to duck any, if there is any there in the low end, but I don't think that's not that much, so I don't think we really need it, but I have it there. Then we have the EQ here, so pretty hard on the low end here, remove most of the low end. Shimmer to give it that reverb. And we have Multiband Compression OTT, and yes, I know I use the X41 here, but Ableton Live have its own multiband compressor OTT built in, so don't ask me why I use the X41 here. It probably was like it was there when I had my mouse cursor there and just dragged it in. You can use the built-in multiband compressor in Ableton Live. It's called, I'm not sure if my face is in the way here, but you find it on the multiband dynamics, and it's just called OTT. So you can drag that in. So that's the lead group. And now we get to the bass. This I had some fun with actually. It sounds like this. Let's introduce the kick as well. Yeah, so that's the bass. It's 3 tracks into one group. So we have some kind of bass line high and bass line. And this is played actually by a free synthesizer called T-Force Alpha Plus. So here's the high sound. Sounds like this. So I have this arpeggiator in Ableton Live here. So I set that to 1/8, -2 offset, and just some adjustments to gate steps and things like that there. I originally had it on 16 here. Maybe I should keep the high one on 16. Let's see. No, it was too much. Keep it at 8. So again, here we have some effects. So the free synthesizer, LFO tool, delay, compressor, and a EQ. So that's it. And then we have the kind of low-end bassline here. And this is actually being played by the same synthesizer, T-Force Alpha Plus free synthesizer. But here we have added a Saturn 2 to give it some more bite, and then I'm using the 456 demo preset. So we can turn it off. You can hear it kind of loses its life. Let's turn it on again. So it gets its balls back. So let's turn off the balls. And let's turn them on again. So it just adds to the low end. It just sounds better. I really like the Fabfilter stuff. I don't get paid to say that. I should get paid for that actually. Anyway. So that's the bass. It goes into the group here where we have another Saturn, but this is not really doing that much. It's a warm tape kind of thing, and on the middle here on the drive. Then we have the utility plugin here, so every frequency below 248 Hz are delivered in mono. Then we have some EQing LFO tool, and here we have the limiter for the bass. We can actually turn that up a little bit. Let's see. So you hold down the Alt key while you are increasing the volume slider here. Let's move it here. And you can see that the out volume is decreasing at the same value as you are increasing the gain here. And you can see you have the gain reduction going on here. So this is just to try to mix these bass tracks together so they have kind of a uniform amplitude or sound, if you will. So it sits easier in the mix, and especially it's good to use that if you have a lot of bassline layers, I think, actually, or at least I saw that in a deadmau tutorial. So I guess he knows what he's talking about, maybe. Anyways, some effects around here, like white noise, things like that. As I said, this track is really not finished yet, I think, maybe. Then we have some add-on sounds here. This is also synthesizers, things like Diva. As you probably know, I like Diva. And again here we have a glue compressor, a delay, and some shimmer to give it some reverb. And again, the compressor is just to take off the peaks, not necessarily that much. You see that the gain reduction is not that much. It's just to take off the peaks to make it easier to mix, and not necessarily to change the sound that much. But if you do small adjustments like this on each and every track, it adds up and sounds pretty good. So yeah, this is just the same melody played by Diva, and same here. This is also the same melody played by Diva. So the difference here is, so I haven't named it or anything, but this is kind of more in the low end of, as you can hear here. So this is more mid or low end. And if you see here on the EQ, I have shaved off some of the low end and actually also some of the high end here, because everyone is talking about high passing things, but you also have to control the top end. You don't want too much going on there as well. You just want a good balance, and yeah, I know it's difficult. I'm not saying that this is the way you should do it. I'm just trying it out, and I think it works pretty good. So this is kind of the melody in the low end spectrum, and then we have this group. It's the same melody, but it's more in the high end part. So if we solo the low end here, and we can add the high end again here. And then we have a melody going on underneath here, the orange part here. It's just a simple melody. And this is also in the high end. So it's coming in now. Introduce the bass. So that's all of the tracks, and yeah, some of my thought processing when putting together this track. I want to talk about another thing here, and when I produced this track, I usually take maybe 1 hour, and I take the utility tool, set it to mono, and set it to the master chain. So we set everything to mono, and we just play it back. And I sit for maybe 1 hour or half an hour, and I try to mix the track and make it sound as good as possible in mono. And the reason for that is, if you do that, your production will translate better on things like iPhone earbuds or mono speakers or laptop speakers and things like that, because you just have to face it, most people don't have a studio like this, they don't have good speakers they listen to music on. Turning your track to mono when you are mixing will make your brain make better decisions in regards of volume, mixing. When you turn on stereo and you listen to your track on real speakers, it will sound amazing. So if you can get it to sound good in mono, it will sound really great in stereo. What do I do when I mix in mono? Well, what I try to do is what you often maybe experience when you button to mono and you play back. You will kind of hear just all of the sounds garbled together, and it's not cohesive at all. But if you listen to this, it's maybe a little bit cohesive. I don't know. So what I do here is I try to mix it so that you kind of clearly-ish hear every part of the track. And with that, I mean part of the track, it's the lead group. Lead group is one part, okay? And the bass is one part. And the kind of groups down here is also one part of the track. So if I solo the lead group here now, and when I add the other group here, it should be clear-ish in the mix. It should not just drown. So if I play the lead group and then I turn on the 24 group here, okay, I think that sounded okay. And then we can turn on the add-on melody group. And then the other group here. And we can introduce the bass. So I hear already now that I have some work left to do here. As I said in the beginning, this track is not really finished, but I'm getting close to getting it finished at least. So it's just about setting it to mono, adding a EQ, adjusting the frequencies, and try to remove frequencies so that other frequencies in its place will be more pronounced. And you have to decide what kind of you can't have all of these groups kind of at 100%. Some of them have to kind of live in the background, so you have to decide what you want to be kind of in the front, and you have to maybe reduce on the others. So what I do in this, now I get back to the Fabfilter Pro Q3. This is an EQ that is have really great features, and one of them is that you can overlay a spectrum from another EQ. So what I can do here is that I can have the Pro Q3 EQ here on the lead group, okay? And then I have an EQ here on the bass group, like so. So what I can do is that I can go to the, as you can see in the top here, it says lead group here now. So what you can do is you go to Analyzer, and I can go to the EQ called Pro Q Bass. So if I go here, So find bass here. So if let's see now. So if I solo the lead group and the bass group and play back, I go to lead group and the EQ here. So let's play. So what you're seeing now when I'm playing this, you see these faded red things going up here. This is the bass line playing, or bass group. So that means that if you have a lot of bass going on in the lead group, you could try to remove the bass from your lead group so that the bass from your bass group gets more room in your mix. This is a great way to just visualize where the frequencies are in your tracks, and this is a great feature on Pro Q3. I really like it. So it will guide your eyes to where you can adjust the EQ, but of course you have to use what's here to really make the final decision on what you should do. And it's just a nice tool to kind of visualize what's happening in the audio spectrum. So it will help you try to reduce or increase frequencies, and you can do this on a lot of different tracks, and you can see if the frequencies clash. So on the master chain here, I don't have that much. I have the utility here called so I can set the track to mono, and I have some stereo width at 123%. I'm using the multiband compressor from Fabfilter, and I'm using the basic mastering preset called Basic 4-Band Punch, and I'm also using mix-centric plugin from Waves. It just adds a little top end and glues the mix a little bit more together. And then of course I use the Fabfilter Pro L2 limiter to give the track some volume. And that's basically it. So when the track is finished, you will have a download link in the description below, so you can check it out if you want. I will also most probably make this as a stock music library track and upload it to the libraries I am active on. If you want to check out the stock music tracks I make, I have another channel actually where I just upload the tracks, so you can take a listen there if you want. There's a link to that in the description below as well. So that's basically the video for today. I hope you got something out of it. It was a long time since I did videos like this, and if you have any suggestions on what you want to see, you can type them in the comments below. Other than that, I hope you will have a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Take care and goodbye.